Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment purposes only. Today I will be doing a recap on W.A.G.S To Riches Season 1, Episode 3, Humble Baddies. Now let's get into it. And guys, please like this video for me. Even if you're in the bushes, please go ahead and like this video. So, in the first scene, MJ and Stoney are hanging out. Well, I don't know if you would consider it hanging out. They are actually riding in a car. And Stoney is telling, I'm sorry, MJ is telling Stoney what happened at the brunch, with Sharelle, um, in how she told Sharelle that she was a mean girl and things like that. And basically, she's telling Stoney that she just doesn't want to be put in the middle. I believe MJ said that Stoney's daughter is her best friend. So Stoney is the mother of her best friend. So, but these ladies in this group are a little bit younger than Stoney. So she just wants to remain cool in the clique. Okay. So I didn't like the fact that MJ was telling Stoney that they need to squash whatever beef they got because she don't want to be in the middle. If you see somebody doing something wrong, you need to call that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit by and watch somebody do something wrong, and just because I don't want to, cause friction, I'm going to stay silent. Some people are like that. That's just not who I am. And, I'm just going to be the one to call people out on their bullshit. Okay. So, it's almost like MJ is backtracking because at the brunch, she told Sharelle that she was a mean girl. So, like, what are you saying, MJ? Because it's almost like saying that you want MJ, I'm sorry, you want Stoney to kiss Sharelle's ass. And that's not what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, Sharelle is the one that doesn't like Stoney. And she is the one that's out here, putting lies out about Stoney. So she is the one that has the issue. So what is Stoney supposed to do at this point? And it almost seems like MJ has picked a side. So in the next scene, Alexis and Ashley are hanging out at a bar. Ashley was talking about her and her husband Phil moving out the country for 6 months just to get away, take their kids, give their kids a new type of experience. And, Alexis shared that that's something that her and her ex-husband did with the kids. And it was a great experience, or whatever the case may be. And she said, yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to do for my kids. And so Alexis was talking about being single and how the dating scene has changed. And Alexis said that, she changed her perspective on dating. Now she is, it changed from needing a man to wanting a man who she wants in her space, someone she wants to disrupt her peace. So while they were at the bar, Ashley, unbeknownst to Alexis, had invited a friend of hers to stop by and meet Alexis. So it's looking like Ashley is trying to play matchmaker and hook her friend up. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's better to have somebody that could set you up on a blind date. So at least they have probably vetted this guy. It's somebody that so you trust. Um, their judgment instead of meeting a total stranger. Hey, Cece, thank you so much for being here. Oh, and let me go ahead and remove that. Okay. Um, so yes, so she invited her friend, and the conversation was flowing very nicely. It seemed he was a little bit nervous, and he asked Ashley, "So does that mean we're going on a second date?" She says, "Oh, this is not a date." She says, "But I will go out with you again." So I guess she was, kind of feeling this guy, so they agreed to go on a second date. And again, I like the fact that Ashley, y'all know I don't like Ashley now, but I like the fact that, she's trying to set her friend up with a guy or whatever, because, sometimes when you have a friend and you're doing couples events and she always have to show up single, they want her to be able to bring a guy to the meetups as well. So in the next scene, Stony and Jules meet up at a bar, and then Ashley, Alexis, and MJ shows up at the same bar. Oh, and Ashley had her husband with her as well. So Jules walked over because she was already there with Stony. She walked over to say hello, and then she summoned Stony over to come over to say hi as well. It was kind of awkward because Sharelle had already made it clear that she doesn't want to sit at the same table as Stony. So, it was kind of like separated, but they were all there for the same, you know, girls hangout. So Alexis, I guess, trying to clear the air so that there wasn't any awkwardness, she invited Stony to go to the bar to have a drink, a shot or whatever. And then in walks Sharelle, Chad, and then Portia and her husband Andre, Anita, a friend of Sharelle's, Erica. And I'm just gonna stop there because at this point I don't know these people. Okay. I don't know these people. Um, but the people just kept coming. So a lot of people showed up for this meetup and everything. So some chick named Kania, and I'm not sure if I've ever seen her on any of the other episodes because this is a large group of people, guys. So it's hard to keep up with all of the friends in this clique. So this girl Kania showed up, and she was telling the people at this particular table, which was Stony, and by this time MJ had came over to this table, and MJ, she had brought a male friend, and then it was this girl Kania. So Kania was telling the people at this table that Jules was a culture vulture, and apparently it had been on social media where people were calling Jules out for being a culture vulture. And, because Jules is Caucasian. So she's the only Caucasian person in the group. But when they call her a culture vulture, I'm assuming that they're trying to say that she tries to act black. Um, and so they were talking about it and they were getting kind of loud. So Stony and I guess MJ said, well, why don't we bring Jules over here so that she can defend herself and she can be added to the conversation so it's not like we're talking behind her back. So they called Jules over and almost immediately it went left. So the male friend of MJ's told Jules that Kanaya or Kanae said, called her a racist. And that's actually not what she said. She called her a culture vulture. And to me, that was kind of like initiating or drama or whatever the case may be. That male friend should have kept his mouth closed because, first of all, he's amongst all these ladies. Because even the ladies that brought their husbands to the gathering or to the bar, the men actually got up and left and they were doing their own thing. And I think they were like hanging outside. So they left the ladies to have their girls' day. So at this table, he was the only guy that was sitting, at the table with the ladies. So, initiating bullshit. Okay. So, you know, um, Kania did clarify what she said, but the two ladies started fighting. Okay. It was a all out big brawl at this bar. And obviously the fight was broken up, but when Jules walked over to that table, she was already like on 10. And she did say that she was having a bad day, and it looks like they picked the wrong day to F with Jules. Hey, to Latrice, thank you so much for being here. So, in the next scene, Ashley, Alexis, and Sharelle met up at a bar. And, I guess I can say one thing about this group, they love a good drink, and I ain't mad at them because I love me a good drink too. Okay. So, of course, they had to talk about the fight, at the bar. Um, so, after calling Jules a few choice words like delusional and saying that she doesn't take accountability, I think they gave Jules her walking paper because basically Sherelle was saying, she was so hard on Stormy when she should have been hard on Jules. And we're going to get more into that later because later on down the line, I realized who the real culprit was that instigated this fight. Okay. So in the next scene, Portia and her husband Andre were driving in their car, and Portia brings up the conversation about the fight at the bar. So the couple had a very mature and honest conversation, about, the whole group scene or whatever the case may be, and how they have too much to lose to be hanging out, in this group, with people fighting and things like that. And then they also agreed that, if they were Caucasian people and it was a fight at the bar, it wouldn't be any big deal, but the fact that, they're black people fighting at the bar, obviously they're going to be called ghetto and all, things of that nature. So, they didn't say it. They said it without saying that. I guess they're going to kind of pull back from the group a little bit and just pick and choose, which events they decide to go to. Because at this point, these ladies are getting out of hand and, they have worked too hard to lose everything they have by associating with this group. And I can definitely agree with everything they were saying. Um, and it was good that they both agreed on that situation. Hey, kicking it with Courtney. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, dear Yvette, thank you for being here. So, in the next scene, which was my favorite scene in this episode, Jules, aka Big D Energy, Jules and Sade meets up at the Versace mansion. And before they even, said that it was the Versace mansion, I was looking like that place looks familiar. And then I figured out before they even mentioned that it was a Versace mansion that that's where it was because on my last trip to Miami, which was very long ago, I actually went to go and see the Versace mansion because at this point, it's like a tourist site that has been turned into a five-star hotel. I believe it's called the Villa Casarina at the former Versace mansion. So it's a beautiful five-star hotel as well as a restaurant that I would love to go to. I'm gonna have to put that on my list of things to do because one thing about your girl, I love me a luxury hotel, okay? With, nice restaurants. So Sade talked about her last minute vacation to Puerto Rico. So after that brunch, when Sherelle pissed her off to no end, she decided to take a last minute vacation to Puerto Rico. So Jules talked about what had her so pressed that day at the bar when she got into the fight. And this when I said, oh, hell no. So Jules revealed that she had shared with Sherelle, which we all know was a big mistake. Hey, sound check Annette, thank you so much for being here. So she had shared with Sharelle that okay, let me just back up. Now it makes sense why she felt some type of way when Sharelle asked her that question. Because if you watch the show, um, when they first got to the bar, when Portia came with her guy, and everybody was telling him congratulations because they had found out. Hey, Paula, thank you so much for being here. They found out at the brunch that Portia was expecting a baby. Okay. So when they seen her husband for the first time, all of the ladies were telling him congratulations on, the birth of his child and on her being pregnant. So Sharelle turned to Jules and asked her if she wanted more kids. But what we didn't know is that Sharelle had shared, I'm sorry, Jules had shared with Sharelle that she had found out that she was pregnant from her baby daddy because she already has a daughter by the same guy and they just been casually dating. So she was not trying to get pregnant and he didn't want to keep the baby. He's not really involved with the baby that she has now. So she accidentally got pregnant again and he didn't want her to keep the baby. So she had to decide in a very short period of time whether or not she was going to keep the baby. So, being that he didn't want to have another baby, and because of the situation that they're already in, she decided to have an AB. Okay. So, and it had just happened that day. She had just had the AB that same day. So when Sharelle asked her if she wanted more kids, I remember the scene. Jules almost had tears in her eyes. Okay, so that was so nasty and snake like of Sharelle to ask Jules if she wanted more kids, knowing that Jules had just shared with her that she had to have an AB. Okay. So, oh gosh, that was so snake like. So she was just sitting there, like probably fuming and so pissed off, almost just like how Sade was after she got into that argument with Sharelle at the brunch. So when she heard them talking about her over at the next table, and then they called her over, like she was already pissed off. So when the girl put her hands in Jules' face, and Jules tried to knock her hand out of her face, that's when they started fighting. Okay. So, I'm not saying that Jules, had no fault in that fight. She definitely needs to hold herself accountable. But the person who initiated that fight just by picking, on Jules was Sharelle. So I feel like Sharelle is the reason why that fight even happened. Hey, Sharon, thank you so much for being here. So at that point, Sharelle just went from a messy, mean girl to an evil bitch, in my opinion. And I actually felt really bad for Jules. And if it was me, I would show her grace at this moment in time because, again, like sometimes people are provoked. And I feel like she was provoked by Sharelle because the whole time she was sitting there, like she was so pissed off at Sharelle, but she couldn't say anything because nobody else knew what was going on but Sharelle. And after watching that scene, now that, this show has played out, I wonder how Sharelle's close friends, in her close circle think about her now because anybody watching that, you have to feel some kind of way because that was just wrong on every level. And especially since she claims to care so much about her reputation, I wonder what her friends think about her now. So the meetup with Jules and Sade was very enlightening. And I love that Sade don't have a problem with boldly standing up to bullies because, honey, she read Sharelle ass down at that brunch. And I feel like her and Jules both are going to pull back from this group. And when it comes to Jules, I'm on what she on. Okay. Now that doesn't mean, she's exempt from accountability, but Sharelle definitely played a part in stirring the pot. And MJ friend, the guy, could have kept his mouth closed too. Okay. So Jules said at this point it's no Jules, meaning that no, I'm not coming to an event if I'm not feeling well. No, I don't trust what you're saying. Like basically she's gonna start putting her foot down when it comes to people, and she's gonna basically go where she's celebrated and not where she's tolerated. Okay. And to be honest, I believe Sharelle wanted to cut Jules off anyway because of her affiliation with Stony and Sade. Because Stony and Sade, those are the two people in the group that Sharelle doesn't like. And those are the two people that Jules has been hanging out with. So, you know, I think she wanted to get, just basically a 3-for-1, just cut them all out. Jules, Stony, and Sade. But for her to be so mean and so cold on the day that this girl just had an AB, like, I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that, in my opinion. So, guys, put one in the chat if you're watching the show because I'm just trying to gauge like how many people are actually watching the show because it took a while for me to get acclimated into the show, for me to just get adjusted to all of these new people who I did not know on this show because I personally did not watch Wags Tampa or whatever that show was called. I didn't watch that show, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys did. So maybe you know these people a lot more than I do. So just getting to know this whole circle of people was a lot. But now I think I'm good, and I'm actually starting to really like the show. At first, it was a little hard to watch Sharelle and Ashley just like be mean girls. But now that it has kind of evened out, because on one hand, you got Ashley, Sharelle, Alexis, Portia, Keita, and then on the other hand, you have MJ, Stoney, Jules, and Sade. So it's starting to kind of even out. So you have the mean girls and you have the good girls, in my opinion. So, wow, Courtney's the only one that's watching the show. Mama Bees is not here today, but I know she's also watching the show. But guys, once you actually get into it, I think to Latrice, I think you told me it was a little hard for you to watch. I think that's what you told me. And again, I felt the same way at first, but I'm good now. I'm going to continue to watch the show and recap the show until it's over. And I might even go back and watch the Tampa show. Might. That's not a for sure. And Courtney said, Sade was my fave. I love, love, love Alexis and Sade. Those are my two faves. Now, even though Alexis is deep inside that group, and I believe that's because they have that YouTube channel, the Humble Baddies. So she's almost forced to, have a cordial relationship with Ashley and Sharelle, but she does call them out on their BS and she does, play neutral. So I'm okay with that. But and I probably went to Sade and Alexis because what I do like about Alexis is that she doesn't have a problem with calling people out, and she's not going to agree with you when you're wrong, basically. So that's what I like. I like people who doesn't pick a side, basically. And Courtney says Selling Tampa was good. Yes, I might go back and watch Selling Tampa. I'm not sure yet. It just depends on how much extra time I have. But now that I've, decided to watch this show, maybe it'll give me a little bit more insight on who these ladies really are. So once I'm done with this show, yes, I might go back and watch Selling Tampa because I love Tampa and I love Miami. I used to actually live in Tampa, Florida. So, and I might see some things and places I recognize just like I did with the Miami show. But guys, that's pretty much how that episode went down. A lot of things were kind of cleared up for me in this episode. And now I see who these people really are underneath the surface, because Sharelle really did, show her hands, to be a snake. So, and I just don't see it getting any better with Sharelle. And I'm not really sure what's going on with Sharelle at this point in time. It looks like that her and Chad Ochocinco are not even together anymore. Maybe you guys can give me a little bit more information on that because I couldn't really find anything solid. But honestly, I think that they're just in this relationship just for clout or whatever the case may be. And, Sharelle did say that he supports her in everything that she does, even now. So, I think that they're pretty much there to just support each other. But as far as them getting married, I don't see that happening. I think it's almost like a big joke for both of them for clout. So, I think they're supposed to get married sometime this month. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that actually goes down. So guys, if you have not already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, make sure you drop down in the comments and, leave some comments so that we can keep this conversation going. I love to chat up with you guys in the comment section. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. And thank you guys so much for watching, and bye for now.